He has done more than his job. After expenses, he has bet the total returns index. His job was only to, he said he will only beat the price index. He has beat the total returns index. That's the problem.
Just to add a bit, some of you are not aware what is total returns index. Just for example purpose, you people, most of you are aware about Sensex. Today Sensex 28,000, today Sensex 27,000, today Sensex 30,000. That is the headline number for Sensex. All the Sensex companies or some of Sensex companies are also providing dividend, which is not getting counted in that Sensex index value itself. When we consider that dividend also, to consider the return from 24,000 to 27,000, it is a roughly 10% hike. But beyond that 10% hike, some 2% hike was from dividend also. So total hike is 12%. So that is total return index. So when Pattu is discussing here BSE 200 total return index, that means to manage our funds, Prashant Jain in this example, HDFC top 200 is charging a fee 1.5% or 2%, 2.5%. After adjusting that fee and considering with respect to TRI, whereas fund itself says, fund data says we will only beat BSE 200. That means we will only beat 10% in our example. But actually fund is beating 12%, and to beat that 12%, it is earning more than 15% to adjust our expenses. That is what the actual performance of fund is. Please.
So, of course, this is also like a touching an elephant, blind man touching an elephant. I can change the SIP date and you will get a different answer. Be clear about that. I have not done any goal mark conveniently to like the random SIP date. So, now, just to put this into a little bit of perspective, I have used the same graph. This is the number of times the red line, forget the green line is the same. The red line is the number of times the fund has bet the 200 total returns index benchmark after each installment. After each, so you can see that after about 15-20 installments, it is only bet about 50%. Then it starts building. From my experience, any fund in which the cumulative outperformance gradually increases, small blips are okay, but gradually increases, that fund has done well. Done well does not mean top wow, it's done well. Does not. If the performance has, for example, it starts decaying here, if it keeps going down like this, gone. Long-term performance is gone. So if you, it's one way to track an exit. You can look at it and see if something bad is happening. Of course, this may be, you may stop here and exit. That's a different matter. That's up to you. That's your review step policy. But you can give it some kind of slack and see what happens. I would say for the SIP that started in April 3rd, 2006, it has so far on an average bet about 70-75% of the time. It's okay. But to me it's okay. I can accept that return. My point is we have to be patient. We cannot keep changing funds every year, every 2 years and no. The problem is most of us don't change funds. You know what we do? Top up policy. We have 2 funds, we buy 1 more, buy 2 more. After we have a nice plate full of, it's like that. So it's a problem. So that's basically it. The benchmarks should be personalized. I hate to sound like Ashal again, but that is the fact. If we don't know what our benchmarks are, we cannot review any instrument, any investment. We have to know what will work for us. The reason HDFC top 200 knowing those names are worthless information because I don't know what works for Ashal. I don't care unless he wants me to, which he does not. All I have to worry about is what will work for me, and that will come. I will not say it will come immediately, but it should have some kind of definition in place after 1, 2, 3 years, or at least. So that becomes better to only a few more slides, let me just finish that. Can you tell me what that big dip is? Market follows Brexit, right? Dip depends on how you magnify that graph.
I was about to ask it.
Big dip? Oh, let me just zoom out. Where is Brexit now? I don't know that. Unless I knew the date when it actually happened, I cannot spot Brexit here. People who claim that they are buying on dips and you are doing SIP, I am buying on dips. People who claim that they are buying on dips are also doing an SIP. Dip SIP. Okay? They are also doing some kind of SIP. Now, my point is, so you are on your road, if you stretch your hand like that, you will understand what I mean. You are on the road, you are going to start. Do you want to do SIP? Do you have to do VIP? Do you have to do P-based investing? What should I do? If you don't know, my point is, if you don't know, you will never know. You have to take a plunge and start doing something. At the end of the day, let's say there are all kinds of investors here. How many of us are going to compare after 10 years, after 15 years, which strategy had worked for us? Today you will compare using past data. That I can also do. I can give you a perfect Excel program of which is the best strategy that has worked in the past. So you choose that. Are you guaranteed it will work for you in the future? Can anybody give me that guarantee? Or forget that. Are you going to sit and compare? So I had done an SIP, or had I done PE-based investing, I would have got this much. Will you do? When the time comes for the goal, you will not sit and calculate Excel. When the time comes for the goal, you will hit redeem and wait for money to come to your bank account and pray that the AMD does not go for in those 3 days. That is the reality. There is no best investment strategy here. You have to choose something. There will always be something better. The problem is, I don't know how to express this anger. I published a digest of 2 pieces of systematic analysis on whether timing will work or not, timing the market will work or not. And the answer was inconclusive. The response to that post was, timing works for me. I am Spartacus, that kind of thing. We have seen that movie. Timing works for me. What does it mean? You should understand the difference between a statistical sample and one piece of information. So that guy says timing works for me, doesn't mean it works for me if I follow him. I have no idea. It may not. The fact is, depending, I can slice market history and tell you when SIP has worked, when PE has worked, when to dividend dividend has worked. Work means give better returns, best returns, or whatever it's called. So, which strategy will work in the future depends on when you start using it. Since I don't know when I start using it, now, and only more 10 years later. So, there's really no point. Guru can take this, maybe camp. Just tell it. How many of us are going to compare? I have a 50. Oops. What is the time now? Sorry, I gave it wrong. Let me stop with this. This is another problem, sir. Gold is you know what happened? My earlier slides, they were uninterested spouses. To be very honest, they'll be using their mobile phones. What is this guy? Why did my husband bring me to this nonsense? This guy showing graph after graph, stupid guy. And there'll be a graph on gold. So, but I'm not going to show you that graph today. So, what is gold used for? Should be very clear on this. First of all, whether I want, should I invest in gold, should I invest in sovereign gold bond, should I invest in gold ETF, I should first have clarity on what can I do with the gold purchase. Let us say, some people say gold is a, okay, let's be clear, this is a very simple goal. Daughter's education. Please buy gold every month, touch it, feel it, take a selfie with it, Feels nice to have it. Very simple goal, consumption, jewelry, buy it or else that kind of thing will be there at some homes. So, do it. You have to live life. So that's fine. Consumption is a very simple goal. We'll come to that later. Some people say gold is a hedge against inflation. What does it mean? Petrol price has increased by 5 rupees today. Overnight. I don't know why the government does it, but midnight only it changes price. I don't know what that big logic is. But for some reason, today midnight 5 rupees petrol price has increased. How will gold be used to charge? What will you do? Rub some gold and go through? Hedge against inflation? How will it be used to? What will you do? 2 days you will complain. Third day you will quietly go and buy. That's all. That's what everybody does. Fair enough, right? There's nothing you can do. When will gold be used as a hedge against inflation? When the rupee becomes worthless. When the petrol price, which is 65-70 rupees today, becomes 7,000 rupees overnight. Because the government has collapsed, the country has collapsed. We are now part of Pakistan. Then you need gold. When the rupee becomes worthless, the rupee's value becomes so high that you cannot even buy. You don't have enough money to buy. Then you have to scrounge all the jewels that you have and sell it. That is what gold is hedge against inflation practically means. So what will you do? How much, okay, when the rupee becomes worthless, if and when it becomes, how much gold should you need to buy one Sarana Bhavan Idli? At that point, Sarana Bhavan Idli will become very big. To not be so small as the picture shown. Right? How much gold will you need, should you have to buy every day, need to buy dal, to buy vegetables? An enormous amount. Because you're going to use it every day, you're spending it every day. So a 10% allocation or 15% allocation, how long will it last? 1 month, 2 months? So the only way to hedge against inflation is to pray. That's all. There's no way to hedge against inflation. You cannot practically do it unless you have a big dabba full of nice gold bars which can be traded at fair value. If the gold does not have an assay certificate, it will not be traded at fair value. They will give you whatever you want. Unless you have that much stock load of gold, you cannot tackle inflation. That's one problem. Now, people say gold can be effectively used for reducing volatility. I completely agree. I'll give you an example. Let me go there. This is Axis Triple Advantage Mutual Fund. Axis Triple Advantage, I don't know why they call it advantage, it is some triple. At any point in time, Axis Triple Advantage roughly invests in equal amounts of gold, fixed income, equity. Look at the NAV. With respect to the average NAV, which is the black line is the average NAV of all equity-oriented balanced funds. Compare that with the NAV of Axis Triple Advantage Fund, which at all times invests in 3 assets. Sounds good? Want to buy? Tax, forget here, we get good returns. No, fact is we don't. Unfortunately, the returns are also bad. Unfortunately, the returns will be only 8%, 9%. It will not be the return of a balanced fund. During a sideways market, an Axis Triple Advantage Fund will look like a wonderful fund. But the moment the market starts picking up, it will start lagging. The return since inception of such a combined portfolio, although look at the volatility. So if you want to know free lunch, very simple. If you want to learn personal finance, always remember, no free lunch. If you want something, you have to lose something. If you want to reduce volatility, return will also reduce. There is no two ways about it. So you cannot have too much gold in your portfolio. And please remember, how does volatility reduce? Because the fund manager has rebalanced. He has not bought sovereign gold bonds. He has bought a gold fund or a gold ETF so that he can freely trade. Unless if I want to reduce volatility in my portfolio, I should not be buying sovereign gold bonds. I should be buying gold funds so that I can freely trade between those assets and reduce the volatility of the portfolio. It's a very good idea. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but if you choose the right instrument. Most of us don't even know what a gold bond is. Sovereigns are, what is sovereign? Nothing. There's nothing sovereign about it. The government simply wants to save its own ass. That's all. It is importing gold. As a democratic country, it cannot say, I am going to stop gold imports at that value. And otherwise, there will be other problems. There are jewelers who are very big shots. There will be other problems. They don't want to do that. So they brought this 2.75% interest, extra interest. There are trade-offs. When somebody gives you 2.75% interest, well, the trade-off is that you cannot sell it. If you sell it, there will be problems. The bids for buy, sell, spread will be quite high. You will be losing. You don't know when to sell. So please don't buy sovereign gold bonds if you don't know when to trade or how to trade in gold. That's the very important point. If you are thinking 8 years, sovereigns are 8 years, yes, today 1 gram of gold is 3,500 grams, 3,500 rupees roughly. If I have 3,500 rupees today, should I buy 1 gram of gold in hand and keep it, or buy 1 unit of sovereign gold bond? After 8 years, the price may become 2,800. My return is negative. I can still buy 1 gram, which I could have got 8 years ago. I don't know which is smart, is this a smart thing or not. So, if you have to be clear about what that investment is for. If you don't know that, it's a problem. I will stop here. I have a few more slides, but take a few questions if you have some.
So this question is about this inflation. Like in most of the calculators that we use for this retirement or other thing, changing the percentage of that inflation assumption, right? Like post-retirement, makes a huge difference in the kind of corpus required. How do we have to manage that risk? I mean, we cannot simply achieve a too high of kind of value, because then.
Do you know what your real inflation is? Have you calculated?
Not.
Please do. Then you will not ask. Please, do you manage your expenses and do you account your expenses? Please go back 4 years, 5 years, look at the expenses, find out the expenses today, find out how much they grow.